okay.
Nothing wrecks a woman's emotions and threatens the bliss of marriage as much as having consistent stillbirths. The Cosmos have endured 2 of these unfortunate disasters in their just 4-year-old union. That's in the past now, as Mrs. Cosmos is currently pregnant for the 3rd time. Though a joyful thing, yet the couple's minds are far from settled, as the prognosis from the family doctor is grim.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Cosmos, I just have to explain to you guys.
Mrs. Cosmos' womb is fragile and her cervix is weak. There's a high probability that she won't carry the child to term, or at worst, another stillbirth most likely awaits. The doctor went further to render medical options available to Mrs. Cosmos, like using an incubator to carry the child to term, considering the possibility of CS and the likes, but was no longer listening beyond the prognosis.
You understand? Afternoon, sir. Afternoon. I can see you have been having some.
Fed up with their doctor's doomsday predictions, the couple sought a spiritual solution to their palaver.
I keep saying same thing that I said this is weak, and that's why she's been through so.
The outcome of an intense 3 days prayer and fasting reveals that there is more to their failed births than weak womb. The cause of their problem lies in the heart-wrenching displeasure of a teenager, Effiong. Unbeknownst to Mr. Cosmos, Effiong was abandoned at a tender age by his mother, Mrs. Cosmos, then Mrs. Akpan, to his abusive father 10 years back. She fled the young marriage on the grounds of battering, economic hardship, and psychological trauma. The abandonment of Effiong, who is yet to forgive his mother for what he has come to see as the most wicked of acts by a mother, is the spiritual embargo to her successful childbirth. Mrs. Cosmos is not just confronted with the reality of genuine reconciliation with her abandoned child as antidote to her predicament, but equally how to regain her husband's now wounded trust and affection.
Hello viewers at home, you're welcome to another exciting time on decisions. Like you already know, I will always say the decision you make or fail to make can either make or mar you. And that's why we're here to help in the decision process of your life. I'm your host, Abigail Unutaro is my name. And today with me are 2 seasoned guests. Before I introduce my guests, let me introduce my topic: obfuscated reality. It even me, I want to cut my tongue, I want to bite my mouth, but it's a very simple word. You get to know, you get to find out what it entails more on this session right now. But just a quick one before we continue this. Have you ever been in a situation and you want to wake up and just believe it was a nightmare? That's what the topic is about. So you find out more. Okay, right now we'll go about to introducing our guest, and with me in the studio is Reverend Dr. S.O.E. Alapa. He is head of Department Agric Economics and Extension Services, Benson in Dausa University, Benin City. Also a pastor at Church of God Mission Praise Center, Efron. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And also with me on my far left is Mrs. Patience Amoda. She's manager, Irish Schools, Airport Road, Warri, Delta State. Ma, you are welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, like I said before, obfuscated reality. That part you want to change that you can't change. That part you want to see that it's not there but it's there. If you're back there, if you're there, you're out there, and something like that is happening to you, I call it a concealed, hidden truth. You want to change it, but you can't change it. You want to manage it. That's what this whole session is about. So we just from the view we have, from the issue we have, is Mr. and Mrs. Cosmos. Okay, I want to ask: is there a part of your past that should be said prior to marriage and during marriage? Is there a past that must be said?
Ideally, there is need for you to say all you have in the past, as many things that you can remember. The reason is that this man or this woman you want to relate with, as from now, is supposed to be loved, fully loved by you. So there is no reason for hiding anything, because if you so hide, it may unfortunately appear one day.
Okay, okay, let's just hold it there. I can see Mrs. Amoda's expression. Maybe she has something to add to this.
Okay. Yeah, what I have to say is you don't need to plan to say everything.
Okay.
Because if you love your partner, the story will just keep coming
Flowing.
out. And even if you don't want to say it, you will say it. Okay, that's what love does. You love your partner, the story will just be coming up. And then the person will see how sincere you are. Okay? So, you don't really need to. If you consciously keep something, it shows you don't really love that person.
Yeah.
If you really do love your partner, as you tell stories, as you play and gist, it will come up.
But could it also be that you talk on this still? Could it also be that the fear of not telling the partner some parts of the, whether you remember or like Daddy said, sorry, let me point it was that, like Reverend said, tell as many as you can remember.
Okay.
Well, could it be that the reason why people don't tell a part of the past is because they've not been healed from the past?
Could
Because
be?
it has to be something you've gotten over that you can share in light terms. If it's something that still eats you up, it's really hard to make it a gist, a story.
Okay. And like I said, even if it's so hard and it hurts, in fact, that's the reason why you want to share it with somebody that you love. You share your heart with your partner. Okay, oh, something happened that hurt me so much. And the truth is that you will say it if you love your partner. You just say everything. You just say it, whether it hurts or is healed or is still there, is gone. You will say it with time.
Okay.
Yes, you will say it.
Okay. But what about the part of, I know some persons have been hurt. They said things that they were not expecting to hear somewhere else and they've heard it. So if a person is in such a situation, what should the person do?
In situations like that, before you begin to say, you will have had some time with this your partner, and you have known yourselves, and because you have known yourself along the line, somehow you may know the likes and the dislikes.
Okay.
That to some extent can make you say what is necessary and reduce verbosity
Okay.
that may to some extent conceal what you feel need to be concealed. But like I said earlier, there is no need to conceal anything. If it is a love, like my sister said, there is no need hiding anything. You will keep unconsciously saying things that you thought were supposed to be hidden because you love your partner.
What if it's a partner that is, some people like that, maybe for fear of insecurity. I want to know, how did you do this or how did you do that? Or how do you manage such a person?
Okay, if a partner is the kind that feels insecure, yeah, some partners are like that. So they tend to want to ask everything you have done. In that case, I don't think you should go into details. You mention,
okay.
Yes, you just touch everything, okay? Because definitely some things will pop up as life goes on. Okay, so you touch them, you don't go into details, but make sure it's been mentioned. So if it comes up again, but I mentioned this. Yeah. I mentioned that, okay? So you're secured.
Yeah.
Okay, like we heard behind camera, said detail is hurting. I heard that for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
How true is that?
Yes, you don't go into details because is it true that the men are jealous? Okay, I don't know, but you don't need to go into details to now start to analyze everything that happened in the past. Just for knowledge sake, you just need to mention to your partner whatever happened in the past. There are some that should be said straight. Okay, like the case that we had before us, the lady had a child that she didn't mention to her husband. Okay, in that case, there's no detail. You need to mention it. All right, it needs to be straight. Oh, I need to tell you something that is in my past. And for some men, they were like, okay, it has happened. They may be in shock for the first time, but afterwards, they may feel for the child. Especially some men will want to know about the child. What's the welfare of the child? If wherever he is, the child is in this case now, if he is suffering, some men will want to say, let's bring him in and take care of him. Okay? Some will like, I don't want to know the child. Okay, fine, you had a child, but I don't want to know that child. Okay? So you can also plead to say, please, may I send things to my child, since you have already known. Okay? There are some things that you just say it straight. You don't need to paint. There are some you just touch. Okay, this is what happened in my past. This is what, there are some you have to lay it before the table.
Okay, Reverend, I would ask you this. If Mrs. Cosmos was brought to your office and she brings this issue to you, what will you really tell her? What would be your counsel to her? Concerning what's on ground right now, what would be your counsel to her?
Well, my counsel will be that it should ensure that he smoothens things by ensuring that he consciously explains to the husband the situations that brought about that past, and think of how he can also remedy whatever harm has been caused, especially as it pertains to the child that is hurt.
We're going to short break right now, and we'll be back to do justice to that question. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Okay, before we went on the short break, I just asked Mrs. Amoda, and the question was, how does a woman that has already had children before, how does she build a strong self-esteem? Because sometimes this conceal, this hiding, this is just because of what society thinks about them, how do they build strong resistance and be able to live secured?
Okay, I think there's nothing that is new under the sun. I do not think there is anything that is happening to any woman that has never happened before. Okay, with that in mind, if you are in that kind of situation, you just need to encourage yourself that life does not end there. It has happened and you cannot change it. And then you have to move on. Okay? What I've noticed is that people around, they tend to appreciate and respect success. So if you are in that kind of situation, you have a past that is following you to your present and is ready to join you to your future, just make sure you succeed in everything you do, and then society will accept you, and then build your self-confidence, move on with life, and I think you can make it.
Okay, so build your self-confidence, move on with life. And let me add something, your past does not define you. Okay, that moves us to the next thing we want to look at. There's this part of the world, we attach almost everything to spiritual cause and effect. You did this one happened. In the case of Mrs. Cosmos, she has been diagnosed of weak cervix. She can't hold her children, she can't give birth, she has been diagnosed of that. But this same person already had one before. So how do we reconcile that? How do we get a balanced view from attaching almost everything to the past? Yes, not forgetting that the past plays a part in the future. So how do we reconcile that part? What's the balance line?
I will want to handle this in two phases.
Okay, sir.
The first is that don't forget that a new car can break down. It may take a long time for it to break down. It can break down as you are bringing it from wherever you are buying it. So, it's a natural phenomenon. On the other hand, some things that happen physically have spiritual undertone. The issue is that this woman agreed, successfully gave birth to a boy that she unfortunately abandoned. In this case, blood is involved. The child that she gave birth to is to some extent a covenant, right, of life. And she has broken this covenant by callously dumping or abandoning the child. And the child, in turn, is suffering the mother's wicked act. So, there is no flow. That bridge that has caused the trouble has caused, I don't know if I should put it, has caused an injury that is not aligned the free flow of the expected covenant cord. So, that would have caused a harm that is bringing about the weakness of the cervix and whatever that is hindering her keeping the baby and delivering the baby as it was supposed to be. So, if that has been identified and is properly handled, issues will be rightly handled or settled.
Okay. But I still want someone to add something to this. You said if it's handled, it can be cleared.
Yeah.
But there are some that it's not even the case of the persons involved in particular that had anything to do with it. It's that, and there was something that happened in your family line You know, how do we, but I know you're going to talk on that. It's something that happened in your family line. You know, you came to meet it and you've been told it's there. How do you manage that? And I want you to look at it from the biblical point of view.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible to have a curse actually running in your family. There are some negative occurrences that can be running in a family actually. That's why recently pastors have started praying about generational blessings. So if generational curses can go on from generation to generation, then blessings can also go on. Okay, so if there is a repeat of a negative occurrence in a family, yes, as Christians, you can want to, like, oh, this may be a curse in our family, and it is possible for it to be broken. Okay, it is possible for you to detach yourself from it by the grace of God and the power of God. Okay, so if it happens, really, if you notice a trend in your family, you can actually seek deliverance or find it yourself by praying.
Okay, and also another thing you can also do, which I've been privy to, is most times this thing they come in repeated form, like you said. You just find yourself tilting towards that part. Mm-hmm. So it's a curse, but it's not without a curse. The Bible says a curse, curseless shall not stand. So you find yourself tilting towards that part. So if you discern that early enough, the word of God is there. Hold it, is there. It's our final deliverance. Just go along the way of the word of God. Of course, you get away from that.
Yes.
To not repeat itself in your lineage. But let's for time. Let's look at the issue we really have at hand right now for Mr. Cosmos. Mr. Cosmos feels wounded. He feels betrayed. They say don't tell all. But, sir, will you consider holding a part back deliberately as deceit?
Holding a pass.
A part.
Okay, deliberate. If it is deliberate, it is deceit.
Okay.
And if marriage or even business is built on deceit, it will not last. Because what you are calling deceit will not too long from then pop up. And when it does, it will do more harm than the expected good.
Okay, let me just cut you there. So I will tell our listeners first the meaning of the word obfuscated. That's what he just said. Something that was not trashed. Obfuscated. A hidden reality. We just oppose reality because you feel you can do without it. You feel you can just hide it in your past, but yeah, it is in front of you. What to do with it. So that's our topic. So I can continue.
Alright, so it will be better for you to try to unveil whatever thing you feel is secret. My sister was saying that in wisdom, just make a mention, but do. Because if the man or the woman is hearing it for the first time, it brings a shock and magnifies the deceit. It magnifies the deceit. If you have heard it before, you will just say, but I told you that, darling, I told you this before. Right. Then, somehow, a natural cold water will just come down on the man and the man will calm down. So, deceit is dangerous.
Okay, deceit is dangerous. Deceit is dangerous. DD. Bear that in mind. Okay, we have to go now for time. Well, Ma, what's your final word to Mr. Cosmos? How does he get past this hurt? How does he get healed? What should he do?
Okay. Yeah, I feel he should call the wife and let her explain the reason why she kept it, so that he will be on the same page with her. If, for example, she comes to say, oh, I was so scared of losing you, he will see it as love. Okay, she cherished him and didn't want to lose him, but she didn't go on the right path. by concealing that that knowledge of having a child. Okay, so I will plead with him to please try to see what she was going through, because I've noticed that most people don't know how to handle their problem. There's a problem at hand, I need to tell my husband I have a child, but keeping it is not the right decision to make. Okay, so he should just please consider her as not being able to handle the situation, and that was why she decided to keep it.
Okay. Just to add that.
No, before you add, so we can just conclude from that. While you're adding, please, you add also your final words to Mrs. Cosmos. What should she do? How can she? Is there a way she can get her husband's trust back? What can she do?
Well, getting the husband's trust is making plea to the husband and finding how it's a husband that you have been living with for some time, so you should know the likes and dislike. Find how he can appeal to the husband. Find how he can use women form in pacifying the husband, because women have their own operation. And if you bring about several things that can pacify the husband, also considering the fact that a human being is a human being, to err is human, they said. So, because to err is human, if he is able to convince the husband will really say, it's true. To err is human. And people also say, no man is infallible. Yeah. No man is without mistakes. So, what she has done, that thing he concealed was an error on his part. He should find how he can pacify the husband, and I am sure the husband will support that. On the other hand, Cosmos should also know that to err is human. The wife is not God, and so it is possible for anybody to make any mistake.
Okay, so that's all we can take for right now. I'm so, should I say sad? No, I'm not sad. But I'm so almost broken that we have to end here. And if you still want to hear more, we will have to go. You've heard it. Like he said, to err is human. It's part of it. And like she said, make excuse for. It makes it easier to forgive. Make excuse for. And please, I will add from my own end, patience. It takes more time to amend than to build afresh. You can leave your questions, your comments, maybe the things that were not said that you want us to still deal with on this topic. You can drop them on our social media page, show it on the screen. Right now, bye.
God is ready for you.